So by now, you should be in high gear, getting your listings put together. And in this video, I'm just gonna talk to you, make a quick video and talk to you about 5 things that I've noticed that some of you guys out there maybe need to change. And if you do these 5 things, they're not major things. They don't seem like obvious things, but they can help you in the algorithm and just help your listings overall. So we're gonna get to that on the other side. So without any further ado, let's go. Hello everyone, welcome back to the program. This is John from Flippin' Ain't Easy. And today I wanna talk to you guys because you guys are in full swing, hopefully, getting ready for Q4. I know I am. And for a lot of you guys out there, listing is one of those things that you really wish you didn't have to do. I honestly don't see why it's a big deal, to be honest with you. Listing really isn't that bad, but for some, because it's monotonous, it's repetitive, it's boring for some people, they get afraid of doing it. They just don't want to do it. And therefore they go out and they source and they have a whole bunch of stuff they let accumulate. Maybe that's you. And it accumulates because you don't want to list. Now, it may be because, you feel intimidated by listing. Maybe you feel like you're not doing it right. Maybe you feel you got it knocked out of the park. But there's a chance that one of these 5 things I'm going to tell you about may actually benefit you. My thought is everything that you do to your listing that helps you in the algorithm or the eBay search. Of course, doesn't matter what you do, you want your customer to see your item in search. So if you're willing to take these steps, it should help you and it should help the quality of your listing as well. And a lot of these aren't so obvious. I make sure that I do these things almost every time. Sometimes a few things will slip through the cracks when I'm in a hurry, but here's the 5 things that maybe you should consider doing when you're creating your listing. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about, it happens to be one of the first things that your customer sees when they're looking at your listing, and it plays a huge role in your ranking when it comes to the eBay search and the algorithm. And that is your title. Okay, I've talked about this before. You really want to make sure your first 5 words are the most relevant to the customer search, the most likely thing that your customer would be typing in to find your item. But that's really not what this tip is about. The tip I have for you today is placing a lot of irrelevant information in your title at all. And hopefully you're not putting this in at the beginning. Like for instance, I came across the shirt that I was selling one just like, and of course I did sell similar. And on the title, the first word was NWT, which for those of you who don't know, that's new with tag. You don't want that to be the first word in your title. So yeah, it may have sold and I may have piggybacked off that listing, but you better believe I'm changing that title. But it goes beyond that. You have some space left out of the 80 characters that eBay gives you to put into that title. Make good use of it. And, I see people doing things like putting their bin numbers at the end of the title, maybe their inventory location, that type of thing. Don't use your title for that. Your title is where you want to put relevant information pertaining to the item. So that item that you're selling, you have the what it is, you have the model number, you have the color. Start putting attributes to fill in the rest of your title. Maybe it's waterproof. Maybe it's short sleeve. Maybe it has a V-neck. Things like that is what the customer might be looking for. So maybe they found that Nike blue shirt, right? But maybe they are looking for a V-neck and maybe they would really want one that's waterproof. Just an example, but you guys know what I mean. Don't just copy another person's listing and leave it at that. Find the attributes that you're going to be placing down below anyway in item specifics and use those to complete the 80 characters of your title. Try to use as much of your title as you can I see a lot of short titles out there, and you guys can do better. And just maybe someone's plugging in V-neck, maybe someone's plugging in waterproof in their search. You may have ended up with someone that was able to see your item in search that may not have done so. Second one I see a lot of people doing is not using all 12 photos. In fact, as you can see here, I have a board game. It's a brand new board game. It's The Big Bang Theory, and I think I have one left. I had a few of those last year for sale, and so it's up for sale right now. But as you can see here, this one has only 3 base photos. I took a side photo of the front, a direct front view photo, and a photo of the back of the box. It's a sealed game, so there's really no other photos I can take. Now, the algorithm will reward those more so if you have more photos. There is no rule saying you have to have different photos. Utilize as many photos as you can. Now, it's always best to take as many photos as you can that's relevant to what a buyer would want to see in that item. But like in this particular case, there's only 3. So I'm going to go back in and put those 3 in multiple times until I get my 12 photos. And yes, it tricks the algorithm, but if I have a similar item that maybe someone's considering, by virtue of the fact that I have 12 photos and maybe they only have 3, it'll give me a little extra nudge in the search and the algorithm. And hey, this is eBay's game. I'm playing by their rules. And you know what? Until they come out and say otherwise, I'm going to continue doing it. And so should you. Here's one that's kind of a rookie mistake, and this one comes with a lot of experience, but there's ways of figuring this out. And that is making sure you are charging enough for either the item if you're offering free shipping, or if you're offering calculated or fixed price shipping. Make sure that what you're charging for shipping on that item is going to cover the cost, because the last thing that you want to do is to think that, hey, I sold this item for $20 and it's a 5 to 7 pound item, and someone from Puerto Rico comes calling wanting your item, or someone in Hawaii or Alaska, and whereas it may have cost $10 to ship, now it's costing you $22. And UPS Ground isn't helping you because they don't deliver to those locations, and you're having to do it through USPS, and they're going to charge you an arm and a leg for a large item. So ways of figuring this out is you can, of course, make sure on your larger items that you're setting your shipping to domestic only, and excluding when you go into exclude certain countries, you can exclude PO boxes. You can go in and exclude Alaska, Hawaii, and the U.S. territories, and that's, Puerto Rico and all that. So I do that on anything that's more than 3 pounds. I generally will exclude those locations because, shipping to those locations when you don't have UPS Ground to help you, it just really is costly, and it'll eat into your profits. Something to consider. Also, if you're not really sure, let's say it's under 3 pounds, or even if it's over 3 pounds, that's kind of my threshold. But you can go on to, say, a site like Pirate Ship, plug in an old address that you shipped to before, just to see what it would cost to ship it to the other side of the country, and plug in your weights and your dimensions, and see what price it gives you for that label. So you have an idea that while, yes, ideally you'd ship it across town and someone across town would buy your item, if you do get someone on the other side of the country, it's not going to wreck your profits and, heaven forbid, cause you to lose money on the sale. That's the last thing that we want to do. And I'm sure many of you out there, including myself when I first started, have run into that issue, and it can be avoided. You just need to make sure you're pricing your shipping or your item if you're offering free shipping. Price it properly to absorb that kind of shipping cost. Here's another thing that people do that it's sort of a lazy way, and I hate to say that, but that's what it is, okay? You have a lot of items that you're shipping, you're just plugging away, and you just assign a promoted listing rate to every item. You don't bother to see what the solds look like and what your competition looks like. Now, of course, promoted listings are great. They're a great tool to get you seen higher in rank. And of course, you're paying more for that privilege. But I think it works and it's necessary when you're dealing with higher competition items like clothing or higher end electronics, popular electronics. Not using promoted listings with very saturated categories like that can be a problem and can cause you to lose sales. But on the other hand, if you have something that's rare, that's something that's unique, something that has very little competition, if you're already pricing it good, you have good photos, you have 12 photos like we talked about, good title and all that good stuff, why would you need to give eBay extra money to promote your listing when you're going to come up very high in search? I mean, it probably, if it's that rare or that unique of an item, it's probably going to be on page 1 anyway. So don't promote every item that you have for sale. It's just a waste of money, and eBay's glad to take it. But I'm sure you want to save yourself some money, and that's part of how we make money, is by being smart when it comes to utilizing the promoted listings. Now, the last one here, I came across an Xbox One X. And so, not to say that I'm selling one, but I wanted to use an example of an item that would really benefit from utilizing item specifics, making sure your item specifics are filled out. Now, it just so happens that the only item specific being asked for on an Xbox One X is the date of manufacturer. And this particular example that I'm showing you, they didn't even bother to do that, okay? Because I did the sell similar, and whenever you do sell similar, it takes the item specifics from that seller and it puts it into your listing. So thankfully, it's only asking for that. Now, there's other specifics that I can add. That's only going to help. That's not required, but the more item specifics you can place into your listing, the better that is. So as far as these other item specifics, it's a good idea if you can measure, the height, the width, the depth of the item, and maybe weigh the item if you have it, because that's going to add additional item specifics. We tend to want to focus on the item specifics that eBay wants us to focus on. And I personally think that anything that eBay is asking you to do, like fill in the recommended item specifics, that they want you to do it for a reason. And not only does it benefit the search, the buyer's ability to filter down the search to find your item in eBay, it also benefits your item. Your item has a better chance of coming up in an external search. Let's say someone doesn't even want to deal with eBay. They search for your item in Google, and of course, your item comes right up because you have all the item specifics plus the additional ones that eBay wasn't even requiring you to add. And so if you don't have that information, I still would fill it out, put NA in there, because I truly believe that this is part of eBay's game, and eBay is asking you to fill out as many item specifics as you can. And if you can find the answer, great. If you can't find it, put NA. Take the extra few seconds, because the more time you spend on playing eBay's game the way they want you to play it, even though you hate it, the better success you are going to have on this platform. So guys, what do you think? Please comment down below. How many of these things are you guys utilizing right now? Have you even thought to utilize some of these things? Give it a try, see how it works for you. Give it a few weeks. You're adding a little extra time into your listing process. I get it. For some of you, you already don't want to be listing, and this is the last thing you really want to do is add these steps. But the goal here is not how many items you can list, it's how many items you can sell, okay? And the idea is to create quality listings that will get you quality search ranking so that your item has a better chance to sell. And do not skimp on the listing process. Do not whip through it thinking that you're in some sort of a race. Yes, spend a little extra time. Yes, you will list less items each day because of this. But my hope is, just like for me, I'm doing all these things and I'm getting sales. And that's the bottom line. Hopefully this information is helpful to you. Please do me a favor. If you enjoyed this content, hit that like button. While you're at it, subscribe to the channel, and of course, hit that notification bell. But, whether you're whipping through your listing process or you're taking these steps seriously and you're adding them to what you are currently doing, maybe you're already doing them, but either way, just know that flipping ain't easy. And I want you guys to have a great rest of your weekend. Take care, everyone.